What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more INXS. And we're returning to the 1987 album Kick. Thank you again to Nikita. And the next track is Never Tear Us Apart. It sounds like a request or a command. It could be part of a larger expression, which would obviously change the meaning depending on what other words are involved. But on the surface, it sounds like a desire to stay together with someone and to not let each other or any external factors or people tear two people apart. So, given their songs seem to be about not only romance but passion and intense feelings, I wouldn't be surprised if it is indeed in that realm, but ultimately I've only heard a very small sample size, so I'm still coming to terms with the thematic elements that are in their tunes. So let's hear it. This is INXS. The track is Never Tear Us Apart, and it's from the 1987 album Kick, though this is a Japan-specific edition of the album, which came out in 1989, I believe.
Don't ask me what you know is true. Don't have to tell you I love your precious heart. I was standing, you were there, two worlds collided, and they could never tear us apart. We could live for 1,000 years, but if I hurt you, I make wine from your tears. I told you that we could fly,
Vocals.
'cause we all have wings, but some of us don't know why.
Wow.
I was standing, you were there, two worlds collided, and they could never, ever tear us apart.
Oh, you're not prepared for the sax.
I was standing, you were there, two worlds collided, and they could never tear us apart. You were standing, I was there, two worlds collided, and they could never tear us apart.
I don't know, no.
I was standing.
If the sax is gonna come back in with that soulful swagger, you can't fade the tune. Now, maybe a single mix or extended mix certainly would be longer and include another time around with that saxophone and perhaps another iteration of the chorus. But yeah, I feel like it ended a little too quickly. But part of the reason I say that is because it was a cool song, very soulful, very powerfully felt. Again, Hutchins' vocals, like, I didn't know much about him. The only thing I knew about him going into this deep dive is a bit of his biography, which was largely based on hearing a couple tunes by Duran Duran that were related to him. Obviously, Michael, you've got a lot to answer for most specifically. Nevertheless, yeah, his vocals are incredible, and the way he can go from being pretty normally melodic to very fiery and emotional over a very short time span stood out on that tune in particular. It sounds like what I expected, although more narrowly, meaning I thought there might be a larger expression which could potentially change or complicate the simplicity of the phrase, but it really feels like he's saying, like, once we met, it was two worlds colliding, and at that point we became so intermixed or completely fused with each other that never could we be torn apart by anyone or anything. So it sounds as passionate and committed as the phrase does in isolation. And yeah, it felt like on the page there probably weren't all that many lyrics. It felt like a lot of the same lines kept coming back, which, again, that's not a criticism, that's just saying the sentiment was very straightforward and repetitive in the sense of just driving home that point that this is what we are now, we're one and we cannot be torn apart. But yeah, I was not prepared for the saxophone solo. It felt kind of like a pop tune mixed with a bit of, I don't want to say country or folk, but that little guitar lick that after it would have those dead pause moments and then that guitar would come in, that moment felt a bit folksy / country, but then with the saxophone coming in it felt jazzy and soulful, and so I guess overall it felt like a bit of all those things, a bit of pop, a bit of folk, a bit of jazz, a bit of soul. So yeah, and again, my understanding about this group and their intensity and their sonic flavor, and of course the vocals, is still being filled in by what I'm hearing, but I did read a bit in the comments over the course of the first half of this album or so, and I'm getting a sense that it was a group that unfortunately, had to come to an end too soon because of the loss of the lead singer, and the more I hear, the more I'm beginning to understand that sentiment. So once again, thank you to Nikita. Let me know what you think about this. I will see you next time. Peace.